Hi, it's rant time again. I've got to vent about this. I'm just sick of it. Absolutely sick of it. It's complete bullshit. And as you know, I've got the EEVblog store. I'm actually in the process of setting up a new store. I'm moving away from WooCommerce. I'm moving over to Shopify. And, oh, geez, don't get me started on Shopify. Anyway, it doesn't do DHL integration properly. It's an EEVblog forum thread. I started on that so I could vent and rant about bloody Shopify problems. Anyway, that'll be coming soon, but you can currently order something from the EEVblog store. Thank you very much. What keeps me in business pretty much, because YouTube doesn't really pay the bills. So yeah, I have to supplement that with the EEVblog store. You buy one of my nice meters and you can, or I've even got micro sleeves, buy one of my nice products and it helps keep the blog alive. Thank you very much. A lot of people do it. I'm practically shipping stuff every single day. So it's a large part of my income. So yeah, because YouTube is just no. Even after 13 years full time at this, YouTube still doesn't do it. It wouldn't make Mrs. eevBLog happy. Anyway, rant time. DHL. I've been using DHL for, I don't know, a long time now, 5, 6 years at least, or something like that. Used to use Australia Post a lot for my international shipments, and that became troublesome and stuff. Then I started to use DHL e-commerce, actually, which is where it's sort of like a quasi service where they would sometimes use their own planes, but then they would like hand it over to the local postage system in each country, and the tracking would get lost. But it was cheaper, than the express service that I use now. But they did actually, when I started, they gave me like really good rates on the express, DHL Express door-to-door courier service, and it's excellent, right? But, you pay a bit more for that, and for quite a number of years now, I've watched the prices go up and up and up in terms of what we'll get to at the moment, and I've been absorbing a lot of the cost of this. I've been making a loss on the shipping, so to speak, and I'm just jack of this. Anyway, let me show you what I'm complaining about now, right? I actually get decent shipping rates from DHL. I'm one of their bigger customers in Australia because I ship a lot of stuff every single day. I'm shipping stuff, right? Some days I can ship, 10 plus, double digit meters like per day. It's like, sometimes it's a lot, right? And not only like I get good contract rates, but on top of that, right, they add this fuel surcharge thing. And as you can see here, right, it's been creeping up, and this dynamically changes, right, based on the current fuel price. So each order, right, so each on top of my contract price, right, currently September 2023, I've got to add almost 27% on top, right, just for the fuel surcharge. But here's the thing that gets me, right? When COVID came around in 2020, you remember that? And all hell broke loose, and all the airports stopped, and everyone was like, nobody, and mass hysteria, dogs and cats living together, everything, right? And with social distancing, dogs and cats, and right. So DHL introduced, as did I'm sure all the other services, right, an emergency surcharge, right, an emergency situation surcharge. They called it, okay? And fair enough, right? The airports were shut down. It was just hard getting planes in and out. And it was perfectly fine at the time, right? And it was a temporary charge that they would, I remember I've got emails dating back to April 2020 is when that was. It might have even been slightly before that, but it was definitely April 2020 is when I was paying this emergency situation surcharge temporarily. And they're still doing it. Why? And they've now removed all mention of COVID, right, is to cover operating cost increases due to an emergency out of DHL's control. This includes, but is not limited to, changes in market dynamics and air capacity availability. It started out, it was all about COVID. That's all it was about, right? COVID's gone and dusted, right? There's no emergency anymore. It's done. But they keep the emergency surcharge in because nobody complains. Well, here I am complaining because this is bullshit. We will continue to evaluate and adjust this surcharge as market conditions evolve for the duration of the emergency situation, which they mean COVID, right? Name a country where there's COVID restrictions for shipping stuff anymore. Doesn't exist, right? It will be adjusted to reflect market dynamics. Yeah. Operational restrictions. Continue to evolve with the ongoing situation, right? It's got nothing to do with what's happening in Ukraine or anything like that, right? This is a COVID thing, okay? Although I'm sure if you tried to ship to Ukraine or Russia, there might be some sort of, issues there. Anyway, so this is all about COVID, right? And now they've just simply removed that, because, there's just a general emergency somewhere, right? What's it, climate emergency? Is that the problem now? Unbelievable. Anyway, don't get me started. Right, so here it is. Now, here's one of my gripes, right? First gripe is that they're still charging this, right? More than 3.5 years later, they're still charging this, even though no emergency situation exists. But the thing that really gets me is that the country of origin, right, which is where I ship from, right? So if you ship from Australia or New Zealand, look at this, right? An extra charge in Australian dollars per kilogram, okay? Look, sorry, I can't highlight a column, but you can see it, right? Australia and New Zealand are the hardest hit as a country of origin. So if I ship out of Australia or somebody ships out of New Zealand, then we get hit the hardest. It doesn't matter where it ships in the world, right? It's an extra almost $4, $3 to $4 per package, right? Which, you might guess it's not a lot. Well, yeah, it is. It adds up when you add on the fuel surcharge and then the contract rates for the express and everything else, right? It adds up to a lot, a huge amount. And I've got to absorb this cost, because if I pass this charge on to the customer, you guys, then you just wouldn't order from me, because the shipping would be too expensive, right? So anyway, I might have to look into having distribution hubs in different countries and stuff like that. Not drop shipping, I would still control it all, but like I might need to go to local distribution hubs, especially in the US, Canada, for example, which a good lot of my sales go to. But yeah, look, across the board, no matter where I ship it in the world, it's the highest rates. Look, at the only other country that comes close is America here at the same rate, right? But that's only if you're in America and you're using DHL to ship to China or Hong Kong. Otherwise, it's $1.90, 50 cents, 30 cents, right? Okay. But yeah, Australia just gets absolutely hammered, right? Absolutely hammered. What does this say down here? Please note the ESS is a temporary charge. Temporary, 3.5 years later, which allows us to cover part of an increase in air network adjustments. What is this bullshit in operating cost increases and the necessary air network adjustments? What air network adjustments? This is bullshit, right? Yeah, it existed in April 2020 when it was cats and dogs living together, absolute chaos. We'll continue to evaluate and adjust the ESS market conditions evolve. They've never dropped it. It's never changed. It's never evolved in the 3.5 years since COVID. It's absolute bullshit. Okay, latest, what's latest? We will continue. Latest, local government restrictions, transit time impacts, view temporary service adjustments is impacted countries. Right, it's all just bloody waffle, right? View temporary charges, COVID-19. See, it is COVID-19. Temporary service adjustments for DHL Express, time definite. Please note, as the situation is dynamic, is subject to change without notice, right? And there's talk about some bullshit coming back as well. Right? So, but come on. This is ridiculous. Maintaining several delivery services worldwide. Temporary service numbers indicate additional transit times in days. So it's just that's okay. There's some additional times or whatever. But this is come on. This is not a thing anymore. This is not a thing. How is this a thing? It is not a thing. Right? And why is Australia and New Zealand hit across the board worse? Okay? If you want to charge more for shipping from Australia, well, you build that into the contract rates. You don't put it in the emergency surcharge for COVID. It's absolute bullshit, and I'm sick of it. So, yeah, anyway, rant over. Thoughts and comments down below. Am I the only one who's complaining about this? Bloody hell. It's ridiculous. Catch you next time.